Oi, boys, welcome to another episode in our career mode playthrough year 1 with the Rabbitohs here. We are closing in on the regular season, about to take on the New Zealand Warriors, and we are on quite the roll at the moment, looking for our 8th win in a row. Before we jump into the action, shout out to the gang. If you're watching us right now, be sure to hit up that comment section with the hashtag OddSquad, or keep dropping those fire emojis as we are on a nice little hot streak. We've got a massive game coming up too against the Melbourne Storm, and I'm pretty sure it's to determine the minor premiers. But for now, we've got what I reckon is a formidable opponent in the New Zealand Warriors. We are almost a quarter way through the match and still no points on the board. The Warriors defensively have been pretty solid, honestly. We can't really get any fends going. We haven't really got the opportunity to attack from within their 20, just because they've done a decent job holding us out. As you can see, once again, second tackle still on our 10 as we swing it to Jai Arrow on early, and he's on the back end of a huge hit that dislodges the ball. The Warriors in prime position here to put some points on the board. Petahiku gets around one, and Jai Arrow's there to clean him up. Speaking of the Warriors, since we're playing them, I did just get done watching the Warriors and Roosters game, and man, how frustrating was it to watch if you were a Warriors fan, I assume. I mean, at first, the first half, that was a hectic battle between Tedesco and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, but Sheck ended up making a couple of crucial errors later in the game, in my opinion, number 1 and number 2 when it comes to fullbacks. I always have this chat when it comes to Tuivasa-Sheck and him being amongst the top 3, at the very least top 3, and why I hold him in a high regard. I think I've said it before, but it is because he doesn't have the machine behind him. You know, he's been performing at an average level as the Warriors cake it on the last tackle, but yeah, Tuivasa-Sheck has been performing at a high level behind an average or maybe a below average Warriors pack for the last 4 years. Turbo used to be in my top 3 when it comes to fullbacks, but the man's just always injured. I think Pappenhausen's slowly becoming one of the upper echelon performers when it comes to the fullback position. Just the things he does off the ball, man, he's such a fun player to watch. But back to that Warriors-Roosters game, how shocking were the Warriors inside the Roosters 20? They were trying to crash over from 5 outs around the ruck with their smaller boys like Bunty R4 when there had been Murdoch Masila waiting on the edges, and they just never gave him a sniff, never gave him a chance, as Benji Marshall with the chip over the top will finally open the scoring here. 34 minutes into the match, we finally score some points. We just went for it on the last, try to get the ball into the hands of Benji, get him into some space. Thankfully he did make it into some space, and the chip kick was golden. Half-time, a low-scoring affair and some pretty terrible weather conditions here as we head into the sheds with a 6-point lead. As we take a look at the stats here, we've had slightly more possession and surprisingly made more tackles. Last thing I'll say about the Warriors game, promise, but other than underutilizing Ben Murdoch Masila, that was a tough one to watch. I'm not even a Warriors fan, but seeing them go for out-the-back plays from within their own 20 and then just simple hit-ups from outside the Roosters try line, man, that was shocking. It just shows that they lack a half that will take control of the game. Maybe if Chanel Harris-Tavita wasn't injured, maybe he would have been the points of difference, but I don't really want to talk about how bad players play, but there's a few players on that team looking a little too comfy. On another note, how good is it to see the Morris brothers continue to excel late in their career? I'm only really talking about this game because we're playing the Warriors and it's fresh on my mind. The first 3 games of the round, or 4 games actually, absolute garbage as the Warriors finally get on the board. A bit of a soft try here for Cody Nikarima. Just simply got handed the ball into some space and fell over the line from that far out. It's almost impossible to stop as Harris-Tavita ties the game up at 6 points apiece. The Warriors, man, they've been our stiffest competition in about 3 weeks now. We've had some pretty comfortable games up until this point. As we swing it wide, Campbell Graham into some space. zooms past the youngster Rocco Berry at the back. And they will not run Campbell Graham down as he will go the length. That's about a 80-meter try. Nothing really to that try either. A little unconventional actually. We just wanted to swing it wide early, see if Graham can create something out of nothing, and the man comes up with diamonds. 8 minutes to go in the match. Campbell Graham should be up there for most tries, I think. He scored quite a bit. It'll be interesting to see how many of our boys will be featured in this season's Dally M Awards. Surely we got a few of them in there. Maybe for Team of the Year. Warriors on the 30. Cody sends it right down the throat of Josh Mansour. And we're just going to take the tackle here. Game is far from over. We are one big hit away from a dislodged ball as we get hit. Cameron Murray, speaking of big hits, manages to hold on to that one. Damien Cook slides in here for the third. Burgess, nice and short. Marshall passes early to Keon Golomatangi. Fourth, back to Benji. We smash it downfield early. I don't know if that's the right tactic. Probably should have held it to milk a bit more time off the clock as Rocco Berry splits defenders, but thankfully the source is there to wrap him up. 2.5 minutes to go. No two of us are shaking this game. Rocco Berry's been pretty decent though, to be fair. As we finally get our hands on Harris Tavita. He stopped outside the 30. Inside ball play back to Rocco Berry. Steps around two defenders. Warriors looking to tie the game up at least to send it into golden point extra time. Petahiku on the third. He's wrapped up on the 10. Back to Cody Berry. And that is the last play of the game. We barely hold on for our 8th win in a row. The Warriors, man, they turned up to play today. This definitely felt like one of those old school wet weather games where the whole game pretty much was played in the trenches, and thankfully our boys got the job done in the end. 12 points to 6. Even our points, the try scored, just came down to individual brilliance. But yeah, boys, the next round will be the biggest round of the regular season. As always, if you enjoyed that and would like to see more Rugby League Life 4 content or content in general, be sure to run straight at that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you.
When it's time, I will never need a doubt who's behind. That's my
Later.
team, that's my team. Loyalty over everything, that's my team, that's my team. From the bottom where we grinding, that's my team, that's my team. To the top where we shining, that's my team, that's my team.